it's cool that we kind of connected because you was actually here. I think it was May.
Yeah, it was May.
It was passing, but I didn't know that what you was talking about was her. So I put the two together when Melee told me about you and you was at the Wiz. I was like, time out, this the same person? So everything, came in my brain, and I didn't realize that she was also a film director as well.
Well, Sarah Beck actually invited me to one of the open mics, like fall. I don't remember the date. Here. Randomly. Like, I think I was only here for like 3 months. It was like the first 3 months that I'd moved here.
It was Sailor. It was not. It was.
Yeah. So it was really strange how everything kind of came back full circle. Because I was like, I don't know, I'll go, whatever. And I was telling her, like, oh my gosh, I had such a great time. I didn't know that y'all did, what y'all do. And then when you reached out to me, and I came back in February with a friend of mine who choreographed a piece. And that's when we kind of met again. And then after the Wiz, I was like, wait, how did we not connect the dots?
So what's interesting about that, I wanted to have you and Melee host that. I never met you, but Melee said, and then now everything added just made sense. And it's cool. I'm glad that you came through. Thank you. So I did not know she was a film director until she sent me her email. I was like, come on, what? Of course, we're going to do everything. I'm running sound. I'm doing this. So this is our blood. So my question is like, because it's very difficult in the Haitian culture. They don't know about that because it's not the same thing as the African culture because, we were the first black colony to win our independence. So there's a whole bunch of pride in that. But at the same time, it's not like we're not the common, Pan-African people. Can you explain how were you able to do this film or pursue this career? Because I definitely know that there has to be some setbacks.
Oh yeah, you just disappoint them. You just do it. So what's funny is I started really getting into the creative world in elementary school because the top school where I'm from was a performing arts school.
What state?
In Florida. I'm from Florida. It was called Edison Park Creative and Expressive Arts Elementary School. It's named after Thomas Edison. He has a house in Fort Myers. Weird. Anywho, Haitians love to be number one. And so they're like, oh, it's the number one school. Number one school. Oh, yeah, you go there. Yeah. You want to be doctor.
Yeah.
Oh, no, baby. It's not going to give doctor. So little did they know, they actually planted the seed. Because when I got there, that's when my whole world expanded. I remember my dance teacher, her name was Dr. Taffel. She didn't really like many people, but for some reason she really liked me. And she would tell my mom, your daughter has something special. Like, I enjoy watching her dance. And at Edison Park, like, you learned everything. They forced you. Like, you had to play music, you had to be in the choir, you had to dance, you had to act.
So did you play the instrument?
Yes, I played cello. Yeah. And then
You think I do the most? I'm trying to catch up to you. So you play cello. Of course, you act.
And I played piano.
You play piano. You dance. And direct. You learned all of that through that school, or later do you acquire that?
All of that, that's the foundation. The Edison Park was my foundation and everything, because I also learned how to do theater and act and stuff there. And from there, I was like, okay, I want to do this creative thing. I want to be a creative. And so I begged my parents to let me go to this performing arts middle school. And the only reason why they let me go is because it was the #1 middle school in the town. There's a pattern here. And so, again, they're like, yes, this will prepare you to be a doctor. No. So it wasn't until high school where they're like, you got to stop this. You got to get serious. I want you to, okay, if not doctor, lawyer. Okay. Exactly. They're being reasonable here.
You sound exactly like my mom. That's scary. And I actually went to high school, little known fact. I went to school, 14th Street, Union Square in New York, Washington Irving High School. It was like the only school in near the Lower East Side that had a pre-law program, which was connected to the law firm across the street from World Trade Center, Cleary Gottlieb is like the biggest law firm and prestigious. So I got to do that route. But, you know, God had different plans.
Right. Because that's the thing. God will do what he wants to do. You know, he'll kick you.
So what was that transition like? So from grade school, I guess, middle school to high school, like how did you knew that, okay, choreography and...
Get it. Sorry, ADHD.
How did you know that choreography, dance, I would say the arts and visual was like your thing? When was that like, oh, this is me? What was that moment?
Okay, so actually in high school, what's funny is there was a TV production class, and it was an academy school. So they had a firefighting program, they had a nursing program. It was actually really cool. And so I decided to do accounting. I don't know why. But I lasted,
you gotta learn how to, you know, balance your books. If you
right. Couldn't balance my attention span with that. So I lasted one semester, and I begged the TV production lady, she's a teacher, can you please let me take this class? I took the class, I learned about cameras. I actually got certified in Adobe Premiere Pro in high school, just from that class. Nice. And so then people knew me as the news girl because I took it and ran with it. Every morning I was like, reporting live. Like, I was like, if I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna make a statement. And I actually made like short little skits. I like rallied everybody together. I'm like, guys, the news doesn't have to be boring.
Is it on YouTube?
Maybe.
I'll find it. you know, I work in IT.
You will.
I can find it.
You will. But moving forward, so I pretty much like rallied all the troops, and I made them do little short skits as if it was YouTube, because again, like I just was super passionate about it. It wasn't until college that I realized that I wanted to do this for real. I was on the psychology track. I also have a bachelor's in psychology, and I thought that I was going to be a clinical therapist, and I just kept taking dance classes. I took so many dance classes, my advisor was like, you can actually just double major. Like you literally don't have to do anything.
And did you do that?
I did, because summer of 2017, I met a man named Jewel D. Lane. We all had to take a summer intensive for the dance program. And he was a filmmaker and a dancer. And so he combined the two, and I didn't know that you could do that. He's actually my mentor now, which is really great. But it was from his class that I was like, okay, I'm a dancer now. I choreograph, I'm gonna be a filmmaker. And I just decided to declare the major, and then I did one snap decision when I like one semester before I graduated college, I auditioned to one singular grad school for dance. That was it, that's all I did. Which is funny because I was applying to PhD programs in psychology, like I was going for it.
It's the little backstory. That's to kind of fulfill the doctor aspect of it.
Yeah, I was. I was like, if I'm not going to be a doctor.
It's that little loophole. Yeah. It's like, I'm going to be the doctor, but in dance.
Exactly.
So they have to call you Dr. Danie Etienne.
My dad still hopes on that.
Smart.
Yeah, he's like, I can call you doctor. It's not the same, but I can call you doctor. But so I auditioned, and I was like, this is it. If I don't get it, like, I'm not going to dance this. And I got it. It was the only school that I decided to audition. And if I didn't get it, like, I don't know what I would have done. I didn't have a plan B. So
that's great. You didn't have a plan B. I felt like I thought I had a plan B, but it was really to make plan A work. And what's interesting, I went to college, just kind of backstory, was very similar parallels with us, and it's cool because what's interesting about everything that led up to this point with having a band, and we're actually celebrating a year in September.
Congratulations.
And this was like my dream to have, outside of musicians and live paint, I was like, I want dancers, it was cool. But there's quite a few that, do that, but not in a live setting. I'm from New York. Like, this is what I'm used to. Like, break dancers, people do graffiti art in walls, people who do these like sneaker design stuff, and then you got the live band. That's what I'm used to. So when I came to Lynchburg, I was like, I gotta do this so bad. They don't do that as much because apartments are a little bit priority in New York because people don't want to live in the dirt. They want to live in the high skyscrapers and So they don't have a lot of those. So we kind of reinvented that in a way, and you came in right in the mold of that, because this literally, that's something that we love to have. And what's cool about you was, which I want to explain while we're having this, I saw her film like 2-3 times because I have the file. I was like, man, like there's so many parallels. Even though I'm bald, I understand because my sister had the dread. She went through the whole dread stage. No, first the perm, then the braids, then the curly hair, then the little mini afro, then the dreads, and then dreadlocks, and then now so I understand that. And and I actually lost my hair from relaxing it over. That's why I lost my hair, not of heredity, because I lost my hair because I thought I had those waves, and then I had
From relaxing it?
Yeah, I relaxed it. Yeah, up to my freshman year in college. Excuse me.
Wow.
So I used to relax it just to keep it soft, but.
You gotta put the creamy crack down.
Nah, it's a chemical in there called lye. You do not want to leave in there. There's one time I slept and I had my do-rag on, and yeah.
Oh my
God.
Yeah.
So you live and learn. I look better bald. But I was saying about this film, I really relate to this film because I felt that even though I don't have hair, but there's an undertone that as a man, as a black man, I feel like I'll say a little bit pre-pandemic, like kind of leading to the point where there's a lot of men who didn't have hair. They have to, facially groom themselves. So there's a grooming hierarchy of, the cleanliness to the shape to the, whatever. I felt like because I didn't have a hang time, I have a bald hair. I was like, man, I want to acquire that because that's like, I'm not saying uphill, but that's more like strength. Mm-hmm. Was there any relationship between that? Because I kind of went through that in a little phase. In making this film, there was awareness, like there's women who don't have the capability of growing a certain amount of hair because of the curl or maybe like, just the maintenance of it. Like, was that also kind of like a way to kind of show them? Because all those girls have different sizes hairs. I just want to realize this. Is kind of like an encouraging factor in that movie?
Yeah. So especially towards the end, I wanted to kind of showcase that there are so many ways that hair can be manifested, whether it's, you had some girls who had straightened their hair. Like, I wasn't saying that necessarily I'm judging anybody for straightening their hair or anything like that, but there are so many different ways that you can wear and style your hair, and it's totally fine and it's totally acceptable. The thing is understanding the motivation behind why you're doing it and being okay with that being the motivation.
That's good. I actually felt that when you also, was there mirrors, right? You had mirrors?
Yeah.
That's cool, because that kind of, I don't know, that's my interpretation. Maybe I'm wrong, but was it a form of like self-care, self-love type thing? Like, look how beautiful everyone had a different size, shape, form, but everyone was kind of unified. But what's the significance of it? I thought it was kind of like, hey, love yourself. Is that it, or what's this?
It's that, as well as because mirrors. I mean, I took a liking to mirrors in grad school just because of the reflective nature of it, and just like, I don't know. First of all, staring at yourself can be very uncomfortable, but once you get past being uncomfortable, it's actually one of the most life-changing things ever. Like, it sounds crazy, and I hope I do not sound like a narcissist. I got this from this like self-love app, but one of the prompts was like to literally stare at yourself in the mirror. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I'm like, what? And there were just moments where I started to notice that I would like pick at things. Like, I'd be like, oh, my nose looks like this, or like, oh, what's that one like birthmark, or I don't like this. But after staring at myself in the mirror for like practicing it, I recognized that it wasn't about just loving everything about my face. It was more about acceptance and reflection, and like noticing like the smile lines that I have, and knowing that's because I smile a lot, I laugh, I'm gonna have those. Or like noticing things like wrinkles. Like, what about wrinkles? I know aging and the idea of aging is uncomfortable, but it's something is so beautiful about like earning your stripes, like having that sort of like bodily knowledge. It's so cool that over time your body literally forms into a new version of itself because of all of these experiences that you acquire. And so the mirror was also a portal too, a portal into kind of a new reality, acceptance, self-reflection. So I wanted it to be literal as well as metaphorical.
Yeah, I felt that. That was amazing, actually. And what's cool about the mirror, at a certain point, even in slight darkness, there's an emission of light that sparkles, even in a little bit of darkness. So I don't know a lot about science, but I know when you have a mirror, even if it's like a little dark place, there's something in it. For some reason, you could still, when you try to move it around, there's a little sparkle. So that almost, when I saw the film, I was like, oh, there's a beautiful light that can still come through it no matter what you reflect on it. So that's why I thought about it myself.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah. I didn't think about that, but yeah.
See, I pay attention. yeah. That's what I did. So another question. So, because I feel like we're similar in a way that we do multiple things, like as far as, outside of music, I do technology, the marketing, video, et cetera, et cetera. But what is one of the things that you felt like, what's a foundational skill that you felt no matter what you did, you need to have this one thing? What's that one thing that helped you get through all, the task and your passions? Like, what's that one skill that you could share with someone?
It's probably dance. Like, ever since I was a kid, my parents would describe me as somebody who just wouldn't sit down. Like, it just didn't matter. I was actually listening to a voice recording that my mom made for this project that I did years ago. And I was just listening to her recount her memories of me as a kid. And she would say, like, whenever I was in the Walmart aisles, like, I would just, like, twirl and dance and, like, I don't know. I'm neurodivergent, so I'm like, I feel like it's one of my stems is, like, moving. I've noticed that, like, this type of movement, like, it really calms me down. So when I'm stressed out, like, you might see me just, like, nod my head or
you have no music on. You just
something about it is very comforting, and something that I learned is the feeling of shaking actually, like, resets your nervous system. I mean, I might be oversimplifying that, but
no, you're right. Right. Like, even jumping a trampoline, or like tapping, or those things, the movement of
yeah. And actually, what I learned from, so, like, if you look at animals in the wild, I think it's giraffes. Don't entirely quote me on this, but it's one form of an animal that does this after it experiences grief is they shake, and it literally resets everything. And that's how they kind of, like, shake the grief off of them. And, like, I noticed, like, I have a little toy poodle. She's my world. But I watch her a lot, and whenever she resets a task, she shakes really hard, and it's like a reset. And so that's so interesting that, like, I have that same thing where I naturally go to that. So I don't know, that's kind of like my foundation. And even now I'm peering into the world of making music. You'll be happy to hear that.
Yep, I'm putting it through the fire. Let's talk about that. Yeah. You laughing? Okay. She's laughing. Okay. So what's interesting, and this, I guess that's the humility aspect, because I was like, oh, let me hear your stuff. She sent me a voice note of harmonies. I'm like, and my brain, my new divergent brain, you could send me one voice, you could be like, I could make a whole orchestra around it. And I was like, how did you do that? I was like, I don't know. She sent me his harmonies, just, I don't know if you were speaking Creole, but it was just, na 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 na. And I heard something in my mind. And it's great because the way you sing and the way you produce your sound is very rhythmic and dance. It's kind of like what you're singing is what I could hear you just, like, kind of like Michael Jackson when he's recording, he can't sit still. He's dancing and he's singing. That's how he get. I could sense that. When did you feel like? Because I feel like when you're in dance and theater, you are a musician. I feel like it's parallel. How do you realize? Okay, this is my voice. Because I know it's really difficult you know, in a world where, you know, people's judged by, you know, perfect pitch or being, you know, have a high tone. Like, how do you find your voice? Because I feel like you find your voice with the dance, but when I don't know, you haven't heard her sing it. It's pretty amazing in terms of what she's able to do. Like, how did you find your voice like that? Because that's natural. You know what I'm saying? You can't teach that.
Oh, I'm still figuring that out.
Still figuring it out?
I think it's such a new. It's funny. Singing has always been something that I enjoy doing. Like, it's another thing that kind of calms me down too. It's funny because I get it from my mom. So my mom's a cosmetologist, which is where all the hair stuff comes from. And I would sit in her studio as a kid and I would just watch her do all of these ladies' hair, and she would always sing while doing their hair. And it was really cool to see because, I don't know, they were never annoyed by it. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, just do my hair, girl. Like, give me my cornrows.
It's part of our culture. Like,
right, exactly. They would start singing like Haitian hymns. And so it would be this transcendent experience because, like, I'm watching her client in her chair close her eyes and, like, sway. And she's doing her hair and she's humming and she's like, it's like filling the salon with all of this energy.
It's therapy,
Yeah. And through my research with making this film, I learned that in African culture, indigenous African culture, hair was so spiritual that you couldn't trust anybody to touch your hair. Like, it was life or death. It was really that serious. For somebody to touch your hair, they had to be vetted. Like, who are they? Who's their mama? Who's their auntie? Like, all of the things, because, you know, you could take somebody's hair and do whatever to it or whatever. There was just like a whole spiritual.
It's part of the identity, and I
Right.
forgot which tribe. A certain tribe, when they grew a lot of hair, they actually, the way they braided their hair, there was one form that showed the story, and another one was like a map, something so interesting. Like, the way they did their hair was like a kind of map or a location or something. It's mind-blowing. I forgot what tribe, but one of the tribes, they braid their hair to represent like a location or a memory. It's mind-blowing how they do it.
I don't remember which tribe either, but those were maps used to help slaves escape, that they would braid in their hair, as well as everything was mathematical, like everything. Even the way that they built their houses to look like it went beyond like infinity. It's super fascinating how mathematical indigenous African culture is, which is something we don't really talk about a lot, but it showed up in their hair. And I'm not even sure I answered your question. I think
you did. You did dance. Well,
just rambled.
Well, I feel like, I guess the skill, it comes off and on. I feel like what helped me, I guess, it's interesting. I feel like I have selective listening, but for some reason, the way someone speaks, I don't know. I guess I'm dating myself. There's an old cartoon called Bobby's World where this kid, you say something and he just like goes. I feel like when you say something, I have these images in my brain. I process it and then it goes, and I read. I say read in between, but I could see what you're saying. Then I get like later, I'll either have visions. And I used to draw. I think I still draw, but I haven't been doing it for a long time. But I used to draw like these the conversations. I used to do like cartoons and stuff. So I think learning how to, when I hear somebody, it gives me inspiration, whether it's through drawing or making a song or it's just as little as like having like imagination. So part of those imaginations is what, as an adult, I was able to operate in my best, like, you know, having a band together. I don't, like, no one really taught me how to do this. It just is like, okay, I saw this. Oh, I saw this show. This person had the conversations and this. Oh, you could do this. And it wasn't like, I didn't go to school for this. We didn't go to, like, well, you was training, but I guess the whole aspect of making these experiences and, you know, putting things together or people together. But it comes through just like listening, just like, oh, this person have this problem. They're not telling you the problem, but they're complaining about it, and they're just going around in circles. It's like, okay, you just put a mental note. It's like, oh, I could do this. I don't know how to do this. I know this person can do this, and they don't know how to do. So it's like that factor, just learning how to listen and kind of be a visual aid to kind of put it into like an action. So now with the film, like, can you share, like, this is your first film, so is there any film that you are planning to do? Or I feel like this could almost be like a series because the way the feel of it, it reminded me of some HBO show. I forgot what it's called. It was like, what was it? It was Dear White People, something like that. It was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Well, actually.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. Okay. So
That's
okay. So
good,
what's
that's
interesting
good.
about that? I forgot. The shot, the aesthetic of it remind me so much of that like the Netflix series. I was like, are you figuring that out? Because I feel like not a lot of, like in my experience, I work with a lot of dancers in New York. Like I work with, what was that, Fela Kuti's off-Broadway dancers to Ron Faison's to, all these people, Latin fusion. And these people, some of them dance in, corporate and ballet. Quite a few number of them singing, and a whole lot less of them do film. You actually do all three. So technically, you're a creative director. You can, director of photography, and you could get all the gigs. But do you see yourself doing this as a webisodes? Because I feel like the significance behind this in short form in many variants, I feel like is really good for especially like women of of color, or even, do you see this being beyond it? Because I feel like it was like, I don't know, I don't want to push out on you, but it felt like there was more to this than this film.
I feel like you're reading my mind. So you brought up Dear White People, which was actually one of the films and series that influenced. So like the whole interview aspect with the wallpaper, definitely Justin Simeon, like Dear White People. I was also inspired by Insecure, Issa Rae. I used to watch Awkward Black Girl when I was a little kid.
I knew that.
I was tuned into her YouTube channel every time she posted a video. So I definitely inspired by her. I'm inspired by Solange Knowles, Beyonce's sister. She does just like really cool visuals, and she has like this modern dance choreography that she does in her music videos as well, which are, you can see that through that. But this is my first like long form short film that's like this long, but I've created little inklings, like, maybe 2 minutes, 5 minutes max. However, I have been working on creating a series that is a part of this narrative, a part of this world, but it's been a little bit sidetracked because I feel like right now I'm being called to do something else. However, it's something that's in the back of my mind. I've already started writing and thinking about how I would do that. But yeah, I was thinking about doing like maybe a short, limited series like you see on Netflix, like 6 episodes, maybe an hour each.
And putting original music, right?
Original music?
Okay, good.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But I'm also trying to figure out what I want it to look like, because what we typically see is like the industry standard is pretty much the same thing over and over and over again. No shade, no tea. And I'm wondering how palatable it would be to have something a bit more abstract, a bit more dance.
I think the reason why I know it's gonna work, let me tell you why. I'm very blessed to work with directors in both, the people who do like, 3D and video game, and then the ones who do like more of the, like the PSAs, and then the ones who do a lot of like shorts, thriller, drama and stuff. I brought Louis Severa. He came down here. He's my best friend from high school. He did a lot of stuff. But I tell you what's interesting, the reason why I know it's gonna work, because you have original music, and then for those who are artists who sees that, they're gonna think it's like not a vlog, because it's shot in this aesthetic. They think it's a series that's like constantly revolving, because you could get to know the characters. And what's cool, other people's outside of dance, they're gonna appreciate the storyline and stuff like that. And what's cool about it, there's no sense of predictability where it's like, okay, there's this antagonist, this and third. It's a continual narrative where maybe, this person, they find out what happened, why they are the way they are because, in their young life, the dad wasn't there, or I don't know, whatever, what I'm saying? So you have so much wiggle room to expand on everybody's character. And what's cool, you get to call the shots, which is great, but yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. I don't have anything else to say as far as questions. Do you guys have any questions for this amazing creative right here? Yes, Sheena, and then be frank. That's a good question. When is this on YouTube?
When is this on YouTube? I'm not sure yet.
You're not sure yet?
Because I don't know if I want it to be done with the film cycle, like festival cycle.
Oh, I guess she's trying to say when it's going to be public.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Yeah. I mean, probably before that. But I'm figuring out if I still want to submit it to more festivals before I make it public. So I don't think it's done with doing its circuit.
Oh, so the file that I got is what is out right now. That's in that you put.
That's been circulating.
Right. Oh, that's been circulating?
Yeah, but not like in public. Like you can't go out and like it's nowhere to be found.
So you guys were the first to see this in public. That should be special, y'all. That's great. That's awesome. And that answers your question. So, be frank. What's good? What's your question?
What do you think is the best way to balance your seniors for you versus the potential social consequences and real world impacts of that?
Oh, that's a good question. So first and foremost, projectile vomit everything about you and just see what sticks and just get all of the creative inclinations and what's entirely you first, and then go back and edit. That's kind of how I balance the two, because if I try to think about like, what will this mean, then I am not being authentic at all. But then at the end of the day, nothing matters for real like that. So I would just do what you feel is the most authentic to you. And people are going to interpret it however they want. You literally can't control that. So I'm speaking to myself too. Like, you can't control it. So you just have to have faith that your knowledge and what you know is going to work. I guess that's how I balance it. But I also do a lot of research. But that's just like my natural thing to do, is to like research everything, look at the connections, who did this, who's the parent of this, like where does this come from, has this been done before, if so, what, I look at it like 360.
Yeah, I have to piggyback off what you said, and what's cool, I'm just giving you the gems. So what's interesting, the whole reason why I started this band is because I used to play in church a lot. I don't play in church anymore. It's not that I don't like it, it's just I'm not in that season anymore. I have kids, I have a growing family. So I was like, you know what, if I had a perfect band, I don't have to like go to rehearsal, we could just show up somewhere. And I was like, you know what, who are the people who like this crazy idea? And it just so happened it's the people that I knew. So what's great is what the projectile vomit, what she was talking about, basically everything that we do here every third Sunday, it has not been rehearsed. Literally, we just come here. It's like, all right, what song you want to play? All right, we'll play that song. All right, 1, 2, 3, and we just play it. And what's crazy, and I have to share this with you for full transparency, I record everything. So we get a year of like live recording. I'm gonna release it on our anniversary. So everything has been recorded. So we can hear our mistakes, we can hear our, you know what I'm saying? And we'll know what sticks. And what's great and what's crazy is that the interaction with what the audience is doing, I wish I had like a camera just to face all of you guys. It's just mind-blowing because what we would do pretentiously by practicing or, writing your bars, whatever, That's in our own mind element. What can only bring you to the next level to know what sticks is if you just show up and just do it. Like, I feel sad saying this, but when I play guitar, I feel bad saying this. I haven't played guitar, like, when I play on Sunday, I haven't practiced since last third Sunday. Well, actually, no. Zakai was here last week, so that was the last time I touched my guitar. It's weird. I feel like, I wasn't stressing. I was like, you know what? Yeah, I got kids. I gotta go to, I gotta work, So the last time I touched my guitar was when Zakai was here, was last Saturday. So the second time I touched my guitar was last night. How was I able to come up with those ideas? It's because I was like, you know what? Forget it. If I make a mistake, who cares? You know what I'm saying? But you guys thought it was amazing. But for me, I was like, I was sweating more than I was now, and it just worked out. Just do it, because you're gonna know it felt good, and you're gonna know based on the feedback. People don't know this your mistakes. People think it's hot. You know what I'm saying? Like, half the time I don't even know what I'm playing. I just know that, you just gotta experiment. Yeah, Sheena. Yeah. Yeah, we did our 10,000 hours like 2 times. Like, it does practice. The practice starts at home, and it starts even before you touch your instrument, or, the practice just.
Practice is mental.
It's mental. Like, I dream, like, sometimes it sounds silly. I dream of what I'm playing without even, it's weird. I dream like, oh, I'm playing da-da-da-da, and then I'm playing like, okay. It's a muscle memory. Like, if you sang for a long time, or if you ran for a long time, if you just immerse yourself in it so much, it becomes who you are. You don't have to do that. But I would have recommended you want to keep, you want to get over the plateau stage, because I feel like I'm at plateau stage.
Oh.
But having you here, I felt like that helped us kind of go to another level. You know what I'm saying?
It's great. And you've mentioned having live bands and interacting with the live band, which everything is so digital, and you have Spotify, you have Apple Music, you just play music. But what is so special about live bands, which is like such a lost art form these days, especially with dance, is you lose that connection, that like spiritual connection of feeding off of somebody else's energy. Because, you're listening to the same thing over and over again. You already know there's not going to be a change in inflection. There's not going to be a change in energy. I am interacting with the energy you brought before you got here. The energy that you had from last week, all of your experiences, everybody else's, what they ate today, how that chemically changed them. And it's going to absolutely change the energy of the room, and having a live band is always amazing, because we could play the same song over and over and over again. It's never going to be the same, because we are always shifting and changing, and I appreciate that so much. I think most of my best art comes from improvisation, freestyling.
Exactly.
Because you're in such a flow state, like there is like a constant, like it literally feels like a stream of water. Whereas when I get so into like choreography mode and like making an 8 count and doing this, like I already start with the freeze, because I'm like, what do I know? I've been dancing since I was this age. And then I'm like recalling like all my teachers, and then like alignment, stand up straight, like all these things. And like, what works? Like, what exactly is the phrase?
You did yesterday was cool. I wish he was here. So Brad was acting a fool. He was playing drums with one hand. He was eating pancake. And while I was playing, the cymbal fell, and she was dancing. She stopped, and she just cracked it. I got off the guitar, and she was still dead. You can see the photo. So what's crazy is that you can't teach that. That's called awareness. So, regurgitate all that out, like vomit it out. Just be aware and just put it out there. You know what I'm saying? But it does come with hours, yes. Anybody have other questions for this amazing creative? Anybody else?
Yes.
So I really appreciated what were you consciously directing through the choreography of the dancers?
Ooh, that's a good question. So My choreography is, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, I was waiting for them to be here.
Go back. Your pair first. Go.
Bye, thank you.
I'm gonna report that for CPS.
I wasn't here. So my choreography is based off of gestural phrases to kind of push the story, because I find that there's so much power in something like,
It's like emotional pop locking, huh?
yeah, like I don't know what you got from that, but I literally
nice.
just kind of told you a little bit.
Like that locked gaze, kind of like questioning, almost like an invisible conversation.
Yes, and I enjoy, especially if there's like moments of stillness, because that tension between two subjects says so much without moving anything, just like the look of the eyes or just like the tension on the face, to me, sometimes is more important than doing 3 turns, or I mean, a lot of the times it's more important than doing 3 turns or kicking your leg up, because at that point it's like, I don't care. What does that mean? You can do 3 turns, but what does it mean to have the focus, to hold tension, to stay in, this world with somebody else, so that that energy is created. There were other parts of the dance which were, I think, other Black women could automatically know what I'm talking about. Like this, or I mean, even Black men, like understanding what this is. Like I had this in there. That's patting your weave because it's itchy underneath your tracks and you don't want to scratch your scalp. So I incorporated those elements to kind of signal.
It's communication.
Yes,
it's a cultural
yes.
communication.
Right.
Yeah.
To have a conversation with, people who are in my culture or adjacent, who understand that code. Like, oh, okay, what is she? Oh, she's talking to me. You're right. Oh my gosh. Okay, like things like that. Or, yeah, I think, did I answer your question? Okay, yeah.
That was so subtle. I love that.
So you're not just directing the dance movement, but as a director, you're also the subtle nuances and
Yeah, that is so much more important to me, because it's those little moments that actually get you thinking, what did that mean? Why'd she look at her like that? Because then that starts a conversation, rather than being like, I'm gonna look at you now and I'm gonna do 3 turns and we're gonna finish. Like, I like the idea of starting a seed, and then how do I connect that to another part of the story? And then that look up in the sky at the end that she does. For me, that was a to be continued, because, then the camera kind of goes up into the sky, like, what does that mean? Where are we going?
So you method acted while you was dancing. That was great. That's amazing. That's great. That's actually taking ownership. See, that's a complete awareness, like even translating that into the live element. By the way, have you danced with a live band before?
I have. So I have training in West African dance, and that's always with live drummers. I mean, I don't know how you would do it with. I mean, I've done it without, and it's not the same. But not with like a live band, no. But with drummers, yes.
That's awesome. This is your element. That's great.
And the band, what I like about the band too is there are just so many different instruments and so many textures to each instrument, that when I'm dancing, I'm like, oh, but what is this? Sometimes I get distracted because I'm like, no, I want to be over here. And I'm like, but wait, like the guitar is making me do this. It's like I'm trying to catch everything, but it never stops being interesting. And thank you for that question. I think that was a great segue into, what I was trying to do. And I agree, like, there's World of Dance as a competition. There's, so you think you can dance, which, you kind of show off your skills. You show off you could put the leg behind your head, and you could show off you could hit the split and then reach up into the sky and twirl over and dive. You know, all those
without
things.
ripping anything too.
Exactly, without breaking anything.
And not breaking your sweat.
Exactly, they have their importance, right? Like, I'm not saying that they aren't. However, for me, what is most important and is number one because of my experience and the reason why I dance is telling a story and communication. I started dancing because it was very hard for me to communicate my feelings verbally. Like, I am much better at it. I understand feelings in the most complex way possible as you can. However, being able to verbalize them to somebody else was always very hard for me. And I didn't have the outlet. Like, growing up Haitian, you know, you don't have emotions, you shut up, you should be happy that you're alive. And I understand, like, it's from a survival mode. You know, I understand why that was said to me. I'm not angry about that anymore. You know, I get it. However, it wasn't until I started dancing that I could communicate and understand what was going on in my mind. Because there were times where I just didn't get it and I couldn't talk to anybody, and all I could do was. And it's through those moments where I could do that and somebody could, oh, what's wrong with you? Are you okay? That I could understand that I could communicate with somebody through my movements. I also people watch a lot, like a lot.
Yeah,
like as a
people
kid.
watch a little too. Yeah.
And people, you know, the way that they hold their body, the way that they're like, I'm like, huh. And when I was a kid, I used to, and that's why I went to psychology. I used to be like, why is he doing that? And what does that mean? And I would just like play this game and I'm like, just broke up with his girlfriend. Yep, mm-hmm. Yep, mm-hmm. And it's weird because I got to a point where I was accurate like 95% of the time.
Body language shows everything.
The what?
Body language shows
Yeah,
everything.
yeah. And so body language was like everything to me. And then also trying to understand the people around me, because again, it was so hard for me to communicate and ask. I had to perceive how people felt, which is like another story that I don't necessarily want to get too much into, but trying to perceive other people's emotions came from following their body language and understanding what they're trying to say without them telling me. And that's informed me as a choreographer and a dancer, because that was so important to me. Because you could say one thing, I really like this party. That's not believable, you know? But you're not gonna listen to my words. You're gonna listen to what my body is saying. And so, yeah.
That's deep. Well, thank you for sharing this film with us.
Thank you for having me.
Danie Etienne.